Hey guys, what's going on? Penguin here from Penguin Plays Games. You guys can't see me. There we go. Look, we got Technoblade in our team. Anyway, hi. So this video is going to be different from my usual Minecraft videos, just because I'm mainly just doing it in the background just for funsies. Because I want to talk about the actual topic of today's video, which is different scary experiences I've had in my life. So yeah, I mean, everyone's gone through scary experiences. Everyone has their own version of scary experiences, and I thought it would be cool to talk about mine. So the first one I really want to talk about is my interaction that I had with a ghost or demon named Vic. Now, if any of my mates are watching this, you've probably heard of the name Vic, if not seen him. Vic is a ghost demon that I saw in the show, like Ghost Hunters or something like that. I don't remember. It happened like, oh god, like 11 years ago this happened. Like, I was a young kid when I first... So, it was over at my grandma's house. Let me set the scene for you. I was over at my grandmother's house. And, it was just me, her, and my sister. And at the time, Grandma had, kind of just the TV channels. Like, we were still watching channels. There were still, like, live broadcasts of shows on TV. There wasn't streaming. That wasn't even an idea yet, was streaming. Now, this is, like, standardized TV. Now, think of, like, early 2000s channels. It's that sort of TV. Okay. Now, picture me being, like, I don't know, young, like probably 7, maybe 8 years old. Like, here's little old me, just hopping around, enjoying life like one does, just been chilling, And then I decided to turn on the TV, and here's the show, and it seems very adult and like old. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I could do this. I can do this. I got this. This is my show, This is my dingly dong. So I turn it on and I start watching it. And in the show, they're trying to communicate with the ghost person, right? That was a horrible shot. Anyway, they're trying to communicate with the ghost person. And the ghost person, oh, I'm out of arrows. The ghost person's is kind of just walking around. They're trying to find him, so they're having to use like this heat detection thing, and eventually it turns night, and they're forced to use this talking box of some sorts, right? Like, it's literally like a talking box. Oh, I still fell off. That sucks. And it kind of goes like the it's like it's the scratchy old timey radio. It's like the and it starts saying random words. And in the middle of it, it says, "I'm Vic." And I'm like, oh, and again, like when I was young, I was very susceptible to everything. So I'm like, oh my god, he's talking to a ghost. Like, holy Jesus Christ, the ghosts are real, ghosts are real. And so I'm having like the big boy panic attack, And eventually it catches up with me a little bit. And so sorry, I keep getting distracted by the game. I thought this would be a good idea, because I don't want you guys to just like be staring at a black screen, because that's boring as hell. Who wants to do that? But yeah. Anyway, so after that, it starts getting darker, and I can't get that thought out of my head. And I'm freaking out, and I keep wondering to myself, I wonder what would happen if I tried to talk to Vic. Now, Vic was a fake ghost from a TV show, and I just jumped off because I wasn't paying attention. Now, Vic, he spoke to me. I remember walking into my grandmother's room, wondering if she can come like sit with me or talk with me or something, because my ass is terrified. And she's fast asleep, and I don't want to wake her up. I was a very courteous child. Like, if I knew someone was sleeping and it wasn't my mother, I'd be like, just let him sleep. I'm a big boy, okay? I'm a big boy. I can handle this. And so that night I just sat in, well, which is now my cousin's room, but I sat in the guest room at the time and was like, okay, I have to take care of this. This is my dealio, and I just got to get through it. But that night was one of the scariest nights of my life because, like I said earlier, as soon as I fell asleep, I heard, "Hey, I'm Vic." And I immediately woke up and I started panicking, right? I'm like, oh my god, the ghost came out of the TV, like in that one movie, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. I'm not gonna live past, like, 8. And eventually, like, I kind of ease up a little bit, and I'm like, okay, this is obviously not real. There's no way this could be real, so just kind of going off of that. But if you know, you know, you know? Oh, I'm gonna die here. Love the fireballs, man. They're really salty. But, so I eventually fall asleep again. I hear it again. And this time I'm like, okay, I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. You're not real. You can't be real. And I go to sleep again. And this is the third and final time I'll go to sleep tonight. Because as soon as I said, oh yeah, you're not real, and I head to bed and I close my eyes, I hear the door swing open. And I could see the light, right? And then I hear it close again. And this is in the middle of a house, right? There's no wind, there's no gust, there's nothing to do that. And the problem is, the way I was sleeping towards the door, right? So let me just give you an example. Where the bed is, it's kind of in the middle of the room. But if you lay on one side, you're not directly in line with the door, but you can still see the light shining through it. So yeah, that was me. I was kind of like laying on that side, and I could see when the door opened, because I kind of like, I peeked my eyes open a little bit, because I'm like, oh, okay, that must be my grandma coming to come check on me or something. Because at that point, it was almost like 1 in the morning. Okay, so I'm like, okay, yeah, my grandma's gonna come check on me. And I was debating whether to just bring up and be like, yeah, grandma, I'm fucking scared, you know? Like this is scary shit. Or, you know, just play it off and be like, oh yeah, I'm asleep. I'm a big boy. All right. So that was my 2 ideals. And I decided to play it off. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to prove to grandma that I am a big boy. All right. I'm the biggest boy. But the problem is when the door opened, I didn't see any shadow. Like you would normally see a shadow of a person there. Like even if they were coming to check on you, you would see a shadow. I didn't see any shadow. And then the door slammed. Right? But the door opens into the room. So if you wanted to literally slam the door, you would have to reach into the room, grab the knob, and slam it back out of the room. Let's just say for the rest of my night, or rest of that night I should say, I did not go to sleep. I did not close my eyes. And I kind of went under the covers with the flashlight, praying to God that Vic, the ghost that I have insulted, wouldn't murder me in this bed. And when morning came, I was cranky as hell, so I was tired. But by golly, I was still alive. But that was probably the first time I had ever felt like this was actually gonna be it for me. Like I'm done. And then I wasn't, so I you know, I've still been chilling. Yeah, so that's the first story. Sorry, I kind of dragged it on for too long. My second story is the first time I ever went on a roller coaster ride. Now, so if you know me, and you know kind of like my personal life a little bit, this is something I haven't really shared with you guys. But if you know me personally, you know that I hate roller coasters. And it's not because, you know, like they're big and they're tall. It's because they're fast and they're unpredictable to me. Like I can look at a roller coaster for an hour, and it still looks like when I get on it, it still is like a mystery to me. Like I don't know what's gonna happen, basically. And that's kind of like the mental struggle that I went through the first time I went on a roller coaster ride. Because when I was a kid, I'm like, okay, I don't really like anything that's taller than me besides my friends. Because my friends are, again, been chilling. But, so yeah, that was my excuse when I was a kid. But on my first real roller coaster ride, I was with my friends. I'm not gonna lie, I was with my friends. And they're gonna say, oh yeah, no, you've gone on roller coaster before that. No, I lived a very like sheltered life, because whenever I said I didn't really want to do anything, my parents were like, okay, he doesn't want to do that, we're not going to force him to do that, sort of thing. So my first roller coaster ride was with my friends, and it was also recently, you know, it didn't happen like years ago. It happened like very recently, in the last like 2 years, basically. And we went to this place called Six Flags. Now, if you guys don't know what Six Flags is, it's basically the DC version of Disneyland. There's a bunch of roller coaster rides. It's all themed to certain superheroes and places, movies and that such. But yeah, I mean, overall a good fun place. And I still actually have a cup from there that I got because the one in our area, at least from what I heard, is closing or has closed. So I got like a relic of it, which is cool. I just still have, no, I don't have it in here. It must be in the other room. I thought it was in here for a while. Anyway, but yeah, so going back to my story, I, up to that point, had never been on a roller coaster, so I knew they were fast, I knew they were scary, but I didn't know how scary, you know, like you never really understand something until you've experienced it, and I've never experienced it. So first I'm like, okay, let's start off slow, let me play it off, and again, I didn't tell my friends that I didn't like roller coasters. They know now that I don't like roller coasters, and to what degree I don't like them. But before, they were like, oh yeah, he just, I don't know, we don't really know his opinion on roller coasters. So, they were all fine with it. They were all like, okay, this is, you know, not going to be that big of a deal, that sort of thing. And, we started off, I think it was called a Scorpion, was our first one. It was kind of like a baby ride, they said. And it was kind of like a first intermediate ride. Like, if you were a kid, this was going to be the ride of your life, right? It didn't really go up too high. It moved a little sluggish. Still had a lot of great turns on it, though, but otherwise didn't really have much going for it. And that, to me, was like, okay, yeah, this is a ride I can handle. But this is, like, my maximum right here. Like, anything past this, I probably couldn't do well, that is. And then, so we went from the beginning of the park, which was right there, like all the kiddie rides and such, to going on the worst ride the park has. And when I say worst, I mean the worst ride. So, literally, this was the definition of going 1 to 100 real fast. And my God, that had to have been, I can still see it. That's the scary thing. I can still see it. That had to have been the scariest ride I have ever been on in my life. Just because of how intense it was. Right? I could see your fireballs, Blue. That's okay. Just have to wait them out. Anyway, where was I? Ooh, wait, these red guys are playing God. Shit. That's just gonna bing chill right there. Brr. Sweet. Yeah, sorry, where was I? But yeah, so they thought I was like all chill with it, and when I say like I got on that ride and I kind of like freaked out, I literally was freaking out. Like I thought on that ride that I was going to die, because first I was up in the air really high, which I don't like. It did a loop-de-loop to where I went upside down, which I hate. Like I just don't like being upside down. I'm gonna be honest. There is one thing I'll be upside down for, and that's for like just being upside down, like doing a handstand. I'm fine with that. That I'm cool with, especially if it's for like a video or something. Yeah, because that gives me like worth. That adds worth to it to me. If I don't feel like it's worth it, then I'm not gonna do it. That's just plain and simple. But yeah. So, and probably the worst thing of them all, and I hate rides that do this to me. And the problem is most rides now do this. There is no base to put my feet at. Like, your feet are just dangling. That, to me, is the worst possible feeling you can experience at an amusement park. The feeling of yourself dangling. I hate that, and I've always hated that. I still hate that. Like, anything that involves dangling, I don't like. Which is probably why I'll never go to, or I'll never try, like, skydiving or anything like that. Just because I'm dangling in air. Like, I have a huge fear of falling from giant heights, and the fact that most roller coasters, like, incorporate the dangling bit now, just makes it 10 times worse. And I think this ride, because I've been trying to remember the name, so I'm just calling it the ride. I'm pretty positive it was named the Medusa, just for like, I don't know, statutory reasons, I guess. Hold on, just gotta hoard off these yellow guys for a minute. Oh no, he's making a run for it. Uh-oh. Uh-oh! Oh, I couldn't do it. Darn it. Let's go. Yeah, so I was on the Medusa, and I gotta tell you, the fear in my eyes when that ride started, because you do have like a little bit of a baseboard, but it goes away, you know, like it disappears with the ride. You don't get to keep it. And so as soon as like it started going forwards, and I'm like, oh hey, the ground's moving, man. And this being my first roller coaster to where it does that, I was in a state of panic. because I'm like, okay, I'm gonna lose my shoes. I'm gonna lose my phone and my wallet. Like, this is gonna be the end of my property. My property will not survive this encounter. I don't like that. Why did it do that? Anyway. And so we start going, and I start doing loops of loops. And again, this is my first experience with that, so I'm not able to control myself. And so I'm freaking out. I'm trying to like focus my head, but my head keeps going back and forth, back and forth. Until I pass out. I actually blacked out on that ride. And I couldn't tell if it was because of fear or if it was because of like just the motion wasn't hitting me right. But yeah, I blacked out. I remember going upside down and upside down, and I remember turning as it was the ending, and then something happened. Like I that's all I remember. And then the ride started going, and I like started to calm down, and I remember like waking back up and still being like, oh shit, I'm still on the fucking ride, that sort of thing. But I had Furious right next to me. So he was kind of like, dude, are you aight? And I'm like, no, I am not aight. I am not aight at all. And after that, yeah, I went on a few more rides just to kind of, because I kind of felt like a little bit of a bitch boy. I'm not gonna lie, a little bit of a puss, one might say. And so I went on more rides. And some were nice. Like I still had a nice time because I was with all my friends. That's pretty much the takeaways. I still had a good time there. But there was one, and I'm kind of just like adding on to that story, which I probably shouldn't, but this one's pretty important to it. There was one called Superman, which, if you've never been on Superman, there's a part in it where you go, like, it shoves you all the way back and then shoves you all the way forward. And this time I was seated next to Matthew, or Mags. Sorry, I was seated next to Mags. And I guess they had been on it before, but they didn't tell me, I watched it, but I didn't realize, what would happen until you actually, like, I always say, you don't know what's going to happen until it happens, that sort of thing. And so we started on Superman, and the beginning was okay. Like, the beginning I didn't mind. I was still tensing up because, at that point I've been through a whole day of hell. But, I was still being chillin', Kinda. And so the ride went up, and it went around, and then it got to the very top, and it stopped for like a good second. The problem with me, right, is that when I was getting on Superman, I was still freaking out. Like I was visibly shaking because my nerves were just like on fire. So I was visibly shaking. So when they sat us down, I didn't realize that you not only had to do like the head press thing where it goes over your head and it locks in place, but you also had a buckle that you needed to do. It was a buckle across and then a buckle under. I didn't do the buckle under. And so when we went up and it stopped, I actually slid down out of my seat a little bit. Like I started, that was the scariest thing to me because I wasn't secure. Like when we stopped, I'm like, oh God, I'm sliding out of my seat. This is where I die. If I'm telling you, if we were suspended for another 10 seconds, I probably would have fallen out of my seat. And then the ride went around and it ended, and I'm shaking. Like I'm shaking like a dog. Okay, like it's bad. I'm like, for an instance of my life, I thought like I was pale. And I know it's like, oh yeah, you're white. It's not much. No. I was like drained. Like, if you remember that one Gumball episode where, what's the name? I don't remember the name of the mom, but the mom looks into the eyes of like a security guard, and he turns like deadly white. I'm like that. I might have to link that clip in the description just so you can kind of relate to it. So go check out that. I might have a little pop-up. Go check out that clip and then come back to this video. But you know, lastly, to get into my third and final one, just because this is going on for a little. How long has this been going on for? 25 minutes. Yeah, so this has been going on for a little while. In middle school, I was in the middle school band, and I played the trumpet, which, I mean, I'm pretty good at it. I wouldn't say that I'm like amazing at it, but I'm pretty good at it. I have 3 years experience with it. So, if you need me to play in an orchestra though, I'm probably not your guy. If you need me to play in like a band, I could be your guy. That sort of thing. But there was one morning in particular where it was a very important day because we had to do like a special performance to a few board members in order to, you know, convince them that we should go to Disney that year. And that same morning, I'll never forget, it was raining. I think it was like a Wednesday or Thursday or something like that. But he said, make sure to bring your instruments and make sure they're clean the night prior because we're going to be doing a lot of like playing that day. Like, we weren't practicing, we were actually performing to a live audience. So yeah, that was fun. But that same morning, I also was up a little bit later than what I should have, secretly, on my Samsung pad, or like basically a Samsung version of an iPad. You know, it was, oh, that's right, it was called a tablet. It was a tablet. So alright. I just pulled up my compass. But yeah, so I was really tired the day, so I got in the car and I got my bag in the car, and I'm like, okay, we chilling. You know, I'm gonna be fine. Today's gonna be great. I'm going to band. I'm gonna perform like a freaking master, and then I'm gonna go to the rest of my classes because I'm in, you know, 7th grade. Fun. But I get to school and I'm pulling my stuff out, and I open up the back of my mom's car and I go, oh shit. Oh shit. I forgot my trumpet. And I go to my mom and I'm like, Mom, I need you to run home really quick, please. You know, I forgot my trumpet at home. And she gets upset. She's like, you're supposed to, you're responsible for that thing. You know, basic mom stuff. And honestly, like, I probably shouldn't say like that. She was I wouldn't say upset, but definitely like disappointed. Because in the end, it was my responsibility, and I did forget about it. But that experience also did help, like, teach me about responsibility and accountability for your actions. So I did forget it, I think 1 or 2 more times, but there hasn't been an incident since then of that severity to where I was freaking out, which is good. You know, that shows improvement, I want to say. But yes, I was freaking out, and I'm like, oh my god. And thankfully, you know, we get to school, or we used to get to school 30 minutes early. So in case there were any accidents, my mom like pre-planned, in case there were any accidents, we can just go, you know, take care of them. So here I am sitting out there, and it's a cloudy day too. So I'm sitting outside the band room because I'm not gonna walk in there without my instrument. My teacher, I almost said my professor, my teacher's gonna look at me and go like, what the hell? You know, you're supposed to, today was the day, kid. You know? And I didn't want to disappoint him. I hate disappointing that teacher. And the thing is, I don't know why. Like, don't get me wrong, he's a great teacher. He really is. But he was just a teacher to me. But, you know, now we're a lot closer. I still know him. He's one of the only teachers in my life I'm still, like, talk with sometimes. Like, yesterday, I saw him. But yeah, so I really just didn't want to disappoint him. So I literally like I chilled out there waiting for my mom to get there, and I kept looking at my phone and watching the minutes go by, and I'm like, okay, I'm it was getting to the point where class had almost started, and my mom still wasn't there, and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna have to go in and be like, okay, I'm just gonna have to face time to face the music. Just like Trevor said, time to face the music. And as soon as I kind of made that decision to go in, my mom pulls up and she's like, here, go, 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 go. And then I go in, and I managed to pull it off somehow. I shouldn't say somehow, thanks to my mom. And I kind of want to put like a little segment out there at the very end for her, just because I know, how much effort she put into all of us as kids. And now I was kind of doing the same to my younger brother, who's still a kid. He's getting older, but he's, still a kid. If I were to describe an emotion that gave me, it was probably anxiety. That was my first interaction with anxiety to such a degree to where I was, I don't know, it affected me very deeply. Ooh, shit, they played us. Oh, I just killed myself, damn it. But, yeah, so that was my first real interaction with anxiety, and, if any of you had taken band, or just, like, anything you're responsible for, or forgetting something when it comes to school when you were young, I'm pretty sure you kind of felt me in that last story. Because it's like, you really need that. People are counting on you, and you forgot about it. At school, of all places. But, yeah. And I kind of want to end this segment with concluding that story. Like I said, if it wasn't for my mom, I wouldn't have been able to do that. And I kind of would have been laughed at, and really, like, the teacher would have been really pissed at me. And like I said, she did it 2 or 3 more times. Or 1 or 2 more times, sorry. So I really got to give it to my mom for not only helping me, but also teaching me at the same time. And my mom's still doing that, even though I'm 19 years old, and I'm a grown-ass man, so I gotta give it to my mom. So, if my mom ever does watch this video, which I don't know if she does or doesn't, thank you, Mom. You're still helping me now, and I'll be forever grateful for that. But, thank you. And yeah, this concludes I wouldn't say the 3 most scary experiences, because there are more and there are worse, but these are 3 that I wanted to highlight because they all impacted my life in some way or taught me something. Like my first one with the Vic incident, it taught me that ghosts are real. Ever since then, I believed in ghosts, and I actually still have one haunting me. And if you've seen my past live streams, you know which one I'm talking about. That's right, I'm talking about you! I wish I had my camera on because I just pointed at my door. Because I don't really have it anymore, but I used to have a door ghost. Like, they pop up once in a while. I want to get to know them. I bet they're cool. I mean, they've been chilling with me for forever, so they either have severe brain damage, or they've been chilling, And the second, the roller coaster ride, it taught me pretty much my limits to things. Because ever since then, I've kind of been like, okay, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do that. It kind of like taught me what would be best for me and what my limit is. And then my third one was pretty much the most prominent because it taught me responsibility and accountability. But yeah, so question of the day, I guess, because I watched an SML video. Those are funny, by the way. You should watch one. Me and Furious really like them. We kind of laugh at them. tell me a scary experience you had in the comments if you got this far. And if, I hope you enjoyed. Have a good one.